structure, channel energy, and structures influence behavior at the individual level and performance at the organizational level. And let me also say in here that I actually think we could get away with the words produce, but I want to lead you gently into it and just say influence, okay? So, structures channel energy, and structures influence behavior and performance, okay? One element of structure is hierarchy. Hierarchy channels energy. I report to her, she reports to him, he reports to her. And hierarchy influences behavior. Can you imagine what would happen if tomorrow, when you went back to work tomorrow morning, I had inserted 2 reporting levels between you and Trust me. Trust me, things would change. So that's hierarchy. Now, let me give you a different example, though. Kind of stay with me on this. Let's say at the end of my presentation, we were going to go to another room in this building and party. I mean, we're talking aperitifs, we're talking champagne, we're talking yummies, okay? Good music, waha time. And I built a hallway. This isn't true, by the way. I see a number of people getting excited already. I don't want to be blamed for this. But imagine this was true. And I built a hallway from this room to that room. And I said, okay, party time. Now, you could walk to that room, you could crawl, you could skip, you could hold hands, you could go with a friend, but you'd be stuck going in my hallway. Because the walls of that hallway would be the physical structure, in this case physical, that would channel your energy from this room to that room. Have you got that much? Yes, yes, or no? Okay. Now, by the way, if I built that hallway so it went up 7 flights of stairs and down 7 flights of stairs before you got to the party room, TS, you'd be climbing a lot of stairs. You understand? The structure is the way in. Okay. Now I changed the structure. Now here's where you got to listen carefully. Changing structure is what leadership's all about. Changing structures or redesigning structures or re-engineering structures, whatever word is in good currency in your bagungi, that's where leaders are, is tweaking the structures, not tweaking the people. Let me tell you what I do with my structure. I get a bunch of guys and we narrow the walls of the hallway about 10 feet down. So while you can start walking off in the hallway like this, when you get about 10 feet down, this sucker narrows so narrow that only one person sideways taking a deep breath can get by for the next 8 feet, and then it opens up again. Question. Can you understand how that change of structure will influence the behavior of the people in the hallway? Yes or no? Okay, then the rest is real easy. Now I have a policy statement I want to share with you. Here's my policy statement. The last 20 of you into the party room don't get to eat, don't get to drink, you got to serve and clean up. Well, it's a simple policy statement, okay? Now, if you can get this intellectually, the rest is easy. Can you understand, seriously, and I want to see heads up and down or something, can you understand that that policy statement is as much a change of structure as moving the walls of the hallway? That policy statement is going to influence the behavior of the people in the hallway, right? Okay, that's what you got to get. Structure influences behavior at the individual level or performance at the work unit level. Now, I use the word influence here, but I was kidding with Dennis a little bit. I'm sorry, Dennis over here. That I think structure produces performance and behavior, okay? Let me show you. Here are some very simple, I'm going to call them tangible elements of structure. Hierarchy, policy, procedures, rules, regulations, reward systems, all powerful elements of structure. Let me give you an example. I have a client who gets up, he doesn't literally do this, but figuratively, once a month he stands up on a little podium in front of 12 sales managers, not salespeople, sales managers. And he says to them, or he has for the last 3 months, look, I need you people to get out there and take a few risks. Huh? Take a chance, for gosh sakes. We need to increase market share and sell more gabungis for dear old fill in the blank, whatever. Now, there happens to be a performance appraisal system in this organization that if you make a mistake, you get screwed to a wall, okay? Do you think these 12 sales managers race out and take risks? Yes or no? Not a prayer. What do you think, my client's stupid? He's not stupid. Well, what's going on? Well, here's what's going on, and this is the punchline. Organizations have a habit of saying to their people, go north, okay? Whatever the hell north is. In this case, it's take a risk. You know what I'm saying? Go north. And you open up the door and you step outside, and you find yourself facing a 40-foot brick wall. that runs east-west with barbed wire on the top, angled back, okay? Now, most of my clients, pretty high achievers, they climb the damn wall. You can hear them, hand me the mattress, this stuff is sharp. Others of them, probably like people here, a little more sneaky. So I'm not going to climb this sucker. Let's just blow a hole in it right here. But that's not the point, is it? The point is, why the hell is the wall there? In fact, if they want you to go north, why isn't there an escalator outside that door going north? Organizations are replete with structures that do not help people get where the organization says it wants them to go. Okay? And leadership has more to do with seeing those structures and tweaking them, removing them, or creating positive structures than it does with exhorting people. Let me show you a bigger list. The intangible ones, quite frankly, are even more... This is not a comprehensive list, by the way. This is just a few of them. But norms, values, beliefs, roles, all very powerful elements of structure. They determine what's going to happen. Okay? Let me give you... yeah, I have time for a funny story on norms. This is a true story. I gave a talk about, sometime in the last 6 months, Palm Springs, California, to the top 140 people of GTE, General Telephone. GTE is 110,000 people, okay? This is the top 140. President's name is Kent Foster, a gray-haired guy who looks like a president. And he was sitting to my right, because he had introduced me. And I'm up on a stage, and we're talking about something, I forget. And we weren't talking about this, but the concept of norms came up in the group. And so I said, well, norms can either really be structures that help you get your job done or the kiss of death. The kiss of death. I said, have you ever heard any twit in your organization say to you, don't bring me problems unless you bring me solutions? Well, 140 people started to laugh, roar, fell out of their chairs. I mean, I swear to God, like I threw a switch. And I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't know it was so damn funny. And to give him his due, Kent, when they all kind of calmed down, Kent stands up to my right and says, Rick, you know, because he was way over, and I said, yes. He says, I need to tell you, everyone's laughing like that because I say that a lot. I thought, well, one talk and I'm out of here. But you know, I mean, seriously, God must have been smiling on me because I'm usually not that quick, but I didn't know what to say to the guy. So what I said to him was, look, when you say that, what do you mean? You understand? Instead of assuming I knew what he meant, ladder of abstraction, I said, well, what do you mean? And it was really interesting. He said, look, Rick, what I mean is, I know we have lots of problems. There's rapid change going on. We have lots of problems in GTE. He said, but I'm tired of people coming to my office and whining and bitching about all the problems. I want some help solving them. It was really heartfelt. And what I said to him is, Kent, I understand that. And the 140 people in this room probably understand that. But can you imagine what it must be like outside this room when people hear, don't bring me a problem unless you bring me a solution? Do you understand? In GTE, what they've learned is, if you see a problem, but you don't really have a way of dealing with it, what do you think they've learned to do? Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. I mean, I know it sounds bizarre, but that is the end product of that norm. In fact, what managers have learned there is if you see a problem and you don't have an answer, keep your mouth shut. What senior managers have learned is if you see a problem and you don't know the answer, keep your mouth shut, but look like you know the answer. This is the difference. Anyway, let me do one more thing on roles, and then I'll get off it. Do people here, this is a terrible thing to ask, I'm so ignorant, but do you play baseball here? Baseball the way we play it? Okay. Does anyone know what baseball is? Okay. Well, the reason this is critical, so you won't know what baseball fantasy camp is, do you? Let me tell you. Well, this is a story that involves a client of mine named Pete. Pete is the CEO of an organization of 8,000 people in Dallas. And Pete is about my age, and he goes to baseball fantasy camp every year. Baseball fantasy camp in the United States is people, not young spring chicken people, pay big bucks, and then they go to Florida or Arizona, and you play a week of baseball with retired baseball people like Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford. These are not names for you, but big stars. I mean, but they're retired. I mean, but even retired, they still play better than, you know. And guys, you know, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, go out there and you play the whole game with them. I mean, you learn, and you know, it's whatever. Anyway, he goes to baseball. This guy's a baseball nut. And I'm telling you this because if you want to explain something to this guy, if you can put it in a baseball metaphor, he gets it. You can somehow put it in a sports metaphor. Otherwise, anyway. Here's the deal, and we'll illustrate this as structure. He calls me, he says, Rick, I got a major problem. I got 2 senior vice presidents who won't talk to each other. They hate each other. They won't even speak to each other in my meetings. I cannot afford to lose either one of these guys. You got to help me. Fine, no problem. Fly to Dallas. Interview both these men. Takes me about 5 minutes, okay? And it would have taken you 5 minutes. Trust me. This is not skill. This was not rocket science. You would have been obvious to you in 5 minutes what the problem was. But see, what I know that you don't know is you can't bill for 5-minute interviews. So, I'm no dummy. So I do my obligatory hour interview with each one. By the way, if some of you will understand this, the structure I'm enmeshed in is that. If they'd let me bill for 5-minute interviews, I would have done a 5-minute interview. It would have cost them a lot less. Do you understand? But the structure in which I'm enmeshed is you can't do that to say, well, you couldn't have got anything in 5 minutes. Do you understand? So I'm forced to. Anyway. No, I'm serious about that. We're all prisoners of structures in which we are enmeshed. I'll make this point in a minute. So anyway, I talk to both of them. I go to my client. My client's name is Pete. I knock, walk in. I know him well enough. I don't even wait. Knock, walk in. And as I'm going through the door, I say, Pete, I got it. He looks up and he says, they really hate each other, don't they? I said, well, clearly there's a lot of interpersonal garbage in the system, Pete, but that's not the problem. The problem is a lack of role clarity, Pete. The way you've described the job to these guys, in fact, the way you haven't described the job to these guys, they both think they're covering second base. I'm trying to see, and they're wearing cleats, you understand? And every once in a while they step on each other, Pete, and it really makes them cranky. And then once in a while they probably both stand there while the ball whips out into center field and you go nuts. This is a role clarity problem. He says, you know, without breaking stride, he says, okay, so how do I get them to like each other? Some of you get it, some of you don't. Pete don't get it. Pete's getting high 6 figures. Pete is not stupid. He don't get it. All he sees is the symptom. He sees an interpersonal problem that is very real. He does not see the structural root of that problem, okay? So we go round and round. The only way I finally made sense of it to him is he has 2 people on his staff who are stellar performers. This guy, Barbara and Barry, this guy and this gal, who are just winners. Everyone knows they're the winners. He knows they're the winners. And I finally said to him, hold it, I got it. Listen, Pete, listen. I said, if we took Barbara and Barry and we put them in Ron and Jack's job, these 2 guys, and you told Barbara and Barry exactly what you told Ron and Jack, in 6 months, Barbara and Barry would start having interpersonal problems. You understand? And he finally started to get a glimmer. Different people enmeshed in the same structures produce qualitatively similar results. I want you to hear the word qualitatively, not quantitatively. You understand? They would have run into the same damn problems because the problems are endemic in the structure. But since they're better, I mean, these 2 really are sharp, they'd have handled it better than Ron and Jack. They'd have been back in Pete's office in 3 weeks, you understand? Saying, hey, Pete, what's the deal here? Who's doing the bunga-bunga? Do you follow? They'd have handled it better because they are better, but they'd have run into the same damn problem. You understand? I have clients who spend their lives running around their organization sniffing, kind of. And then they get to a place that stinks. You know, they go, oh, jeez. My God, who works here? Harry does? Harry, get over here. Kneel down, Harry. Yeah? And then they say, okay, Mary Beth, clean this crap up. And Mary Beth runs in. And 6 months later, if they haven't changed any of the structures, it starts to stink again. Or if Mary Beth's really good, it may take 1.5 years to stink here. It wasn't Harry. You understand? I'm not saying people don't make a difference. Don't polarize on me. But I'm saying, here it is. Your organization, and I don't mean just the ATO, I'm talking about your work unit. Your organization is performing exactly the way it was designed to perform. Okay? I didn't say you designed it. In fact, the frightening thing is I didn't say anyone designed it. I'm serious. But it's doing exactly what it's designed to do. You want it to change? Change the design. Change the structure. Change some of the policies. Change the reward system. Change the beliefs. Change the roles. That's the way you're going to get it. Now, the way we normally do it is instead of doing any of that, we just exhort people. It's called begging and pleading. You understand? Be a team. Be a team. You understand? Be a team. Of course, I pay stars. You understand? You see the structure there? I'm asking you to be a team, but I reward individuals. I don't pay teams, but I'm asking you to be a team. Go north, be a team. Hallway goes that way. Now, a lot of people will be a team player because, you know, they will. That's like climbing the gosh darn wall with a barbed wire. But we don't structure our organizations to make it easy. Remember we said that energy follows the path of least resistance? You got to create the path of least resistance to go where you want it to go, not so people have to climb walls with barbed wires. Let me show you one more thing, then I'll get off it, because I'm running out of time. I'm out of time. Here's an example of what I'm trying to say. This is meant to be a narrow racing shell. That's not nice. That's not very nice, is it? You know, I used to ask people, what does this look like? Thinking they would say a narrow racing shell, but too many people said cockroach, and so I've stopped doing that. Now I'm telling you what it is, I'm still getting laughs. Anyway, it's meant to be a narrow racing shell. Imagine a narrow boat, okay, with people in it. Now, let's imagine that you've got a team of people in here who've got a clear purpose, okay? Their purpose is to seek perfection or meet a challenge or have fun or whatever. Their vision is to, let's say, be champions of North America, where I come from. See the cup, you know, everything. They're all aligned around it. They all have the body strength, the skills and the ability to pull the boat through the water. They got it all. We got a winner here. Now, I put them in the bottom boat. Two questions, not rhetorical. Will the people I talked about in the bottom boat ever be champions of North America? What do you think? Not a prayer. Not a prayer in the real world. Now, here's the really crappy question. Will the people I talked about in the bottom boat ever win any races? Well, even without that. What do you think? I'm getting some head nods, yes. Let me tell you, in the real world of organizations, our experience is really good people can actually pull this sucker through the water and win. I got clients who are winning in this boat. I'm serious. The problem is, at the end of the races, these people are not happy campers. You understand? They're kind of hanging over the oars. We want another one for the Gipper. Seriously. And then someone in the boat usually says, you know, I think we're rowing a boat with a blunt bow, which is the organizational concomitant of saying, I think some of the structures in the organization are not helpful, okay? Now, when people in the boat say that to my clients usually say, yeah, but to change this stuff is hard work and it's long term. So I'd like you to get back in the boat and row your ass off for a few years. By the way, just out of curiosity, what's the easiest way? What do you think my clients offer these teams to get back in the boat with a blunt bow? Bring more money, exactly. They say, hey, look, you get back in the boat, $5. My clients go, you gotta be crazy, $5, $250. I'm in, $250. I'm in, row your boat. You know? Can you imagine someone walking you out to the end of a dock, seriously, end of a dock, little motion here, you're looking at a 30-foot long boat with a 20-foot bow flat, and someone saying, really like you to spend the next 4 or 5 years just rowing your ass off in this boat. I mean, you'd go, well, I mean, I'll do it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why don't we put a bow on it, you know what I'm saying? This is harder to see. This is where the leverage is. Learning organizations produce high performance because they're continually looking at structural integrity. How do they create structures, in this broadened sense of the word, that really help people get where the organization wants them to go? And it's, you know, every organization, I'd say 90% of the problems I run into in organizations are structural. They're not people. I'm not saying there aren't good people, bad people, but when you really get down to it, you find out almost 90% of the problems are this kind of stuff. It's unbelievable. It's not easy to fix, and it's hard to trace out, but that's where the leverage is. And so, sorry?
In this organisation, we've been talking about not getting hung up with structures. We're urging people to break out of structures and work in the most effective way rather than being constrained.
But I think you're using structure in a different way. Okay, this is, you know, if I could think of a better word than structure, I would, because it really misleads people. And we've thought systems, processes, I don't know what the hell to call them. Because some of them are like beliefs. I mean, I don't know what to call these things. So, do you understand what the gentleman's saying? We've been asking to break out of structures. I agree with that. That's, you know, let's just challenge the way we've always done things and look at, are there better ways of doing it? And I'm all for that. I'm saying the way you usually do it is by tweaking the structures rather than exhorting the people. This is the line. It is 12:02, so those of you who are expecting kind of a yippee finale are going to be really bummed out because I just kind of peter out. So let me thank you for keeping your blood sugar level up. Those of you who have time to hang around, I'm hanging around, but it's 12 o'clock. Okay? Great.